안녕하십니까. 오늘 행사에 관한 제반 내용하고 그 다음에 연사 소개 간단히 드리도록 하겠습니다. 저는 유로사이언스 대표를 맡고 있는 김문일입니다. 만나게 돼서 반갑습니다. 오늘 저희들이 그 배너하고 이제 밖에서 보신 것과 같이 푸드 세이프티 세미나를 준비를 했습니다. 이 푸드 세이프티 세미나는 그 서머 피셔사와 저희 유로사이언스가 공동 주최하고 있는 거는 뭐 아시겠지만 지금 뭐 기왕에 아시는 바처럼 특히 작년하고 올해 초에 이 식품 안전에 대해서 그 화두가 굉장히 대두가 된 그런 한 해였습니다. 아시다시피 굳이 말씀드리지 않아도 그 우유 제품에 있는 멜라민이라든가 그다음에 어떤 튀김 제품에 있는 아크릴라마이드, 수단다이, 나이트로사민 이런 식으로 식품의 문외한이라고 할지라도 거의 눈에 익은 귀에 익은 그런 단어들이 신문이나 방송에서 많이 왔다 갔다 했는데요. 저희들이 낸 식품을 저희들이 먹는다는 흰토부리를 앞세우고 있습니다만은 우리 WTO 체제나 이런 국제적인 이런 트레이드 상황에서 거의 불가능한 얘기라고 할 수 있겠습니다. 수입만 문제가 되는 것이 아니고 저희들이 먹거리를 수출도 하고 있으니까요. 일본이나 미국이나 대만이나 이런 쪽으로 저희들이 수출하고 있는 걸 알고 있습니다. 그래서 이런 피할 수 없는 상황이기 때문에 저희들이 이런 푸드 세이프티 식품 안전에 관해서 어떻게 대비를 할 것인가 하는 것이 큰 이슈가 될 수가 있습니다. 그래서 오늘은 전체적인 개괄을 저희들이 논할 것이고요. 그 다음에 전부 오신 분들이 분석에 관련된 일을 하시는 분들로 알고 있습니다. 저희 유저분도 계시고요. 그래서 그거에 대한 디테일한 내용도 우선 커버가 될 것이라고 생각을 합니다. 진행에 앞서서 간단히 설명을 드리겠습니다. 저희들이 오늘 물론 우리 각 취급하고자 하는 주제가 사이언스, 푸드 세이프티, 마스 스펙트로메트리 이런 쪽이기 때문에 굳이 통역을 하지 않아도 혹은 통역을 하지 않는 것이 더 이해에 도움이 될 수가 있겠습니다만은 전체적인 결과를 이해하는데 조금이라도 도움을 드리고자 저희가 동시 통역을 진행하기로 했습니다. 저희들이 이렇게 신경을 쓴 것만큼이나 여러분들이 많은 정보를 갖고 그리고 돌아가시기를 바랍니다. 그 다음에 처음에 저희들이 설문지를 놀아드렸는데요. 그 설문지를 자세히 적어주시면 적어주신 분에 한해서 끝날 때 저희들이 아이파드 터치죠. 상당히 갖고 싶어하는 티네이저들이 갖고 싶어하는 건데 저는 그게 뭐 하는 건지 잘 모르겠습니다만은 그걸 선물로 준비를 했습니다. 그러니까 꼼꼼하게 좀 적어주시면 저희도 도움이 되고 또 행운도 함께 가져가시길 바랍니다. 이 진행을 함에 있어서 무슨 불편한 점이나 이게 있으시면 저희 여기 도열에 있는 저희 스태프들입니다. 저를 포함해서 이원경 대리, 이보섭 상무, 박종수 이사, 최준덕 부장, 그 다음에 기타 다른 우리 도와주시는 JK 회사 여러분들이 있으니까 하시라도 해주시고요. 세미나를 주재할 유로사이언스는 저고요. 제가 체어로 쓰게 될 것이고 이 모든 것을 리드해 주실 닥터 스튜어트 크램입니다. 서머 피셔 사이언티픽사의 부사장님으로 계시고요. 이 푸드 세이프티 글로벌 세미나를 아이디어를 내시고 기안에서 실행을 하고 그 다음에 또 우리 한국까지 오셔가지고 이 세미나를 주재하시는 분입니다. 일리노이즈 스테이트에서 박사학위 하시고요. 니스트와 그 다음에 CIA, NIH에서 단연간 복무하시고 여러 기기회사에 계시다가 이번에 서머사의 컨설테이션, 비즈니스 프로모션 쪽으로 일하고 계시는 분입니다. 닥터 스튜어트 크램을 소개하겠습니다.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here in Korea and to bring you a couple of distinguished international food scientists who have worked in the food science area for some time. And I'll introduce them briefly. By way of introduction, I should point out that my first trip to Korea was in 1988, and I was I led the team for doping control for the Olympic Games here in Seoul, Korea in 1988, supporting KIST, Korean Institute of Science and Technology, who had the primary responsibility for doping control. That was a very exciting Olympic Games, and the rest is history. So it's a great pleasure to be back. What I'd like to do this morning, just by way of introduction, is to show you a little bit about Thermo Fisher Scientific as a company. Thermo Fisher Scientific is a large corporation based in the United States. The company has about 35,000 employees. The annual sales of the company is now about almost $12 billion US dollars. $12 billion US dollars. And we have offices in more than 200 countries in the world. We have manufacturing in more than 40 countries in the world. So it's truly a very international business. Just for example, if you see a gas chromatograph from Thermo Fisher Scientific, you would have an instrument that was developed in Shanghai, and the frame was built in Shanghai. All of the injectors and detectors were then added in Milan, Italy, and then shipped to Austin, Texas, for interfacing with data systems, automation, and computers, and mass spectrometers. So if you have a GC mass spec, it was born in China, it was upgraded in Italy, and it was finished in Texas. So it already has more than 10,000 miles of frequent flyer miles on that instrument. So we do a lot of international development. In terms of food safety, what you see are the areas that we'll talk about today. This is some of the primary areas of expertise for us, and as it is for most countries around the world that are testing foods and complying with regulations in food and food safety. These include things, for example, like chemical residues. Chemical residues would be dioxins, acrylamide, melamine that Mr. Kim mentioned. And you'll hear a lot about those things today. Certainly insecticides, fungicides, and herbicides. We'll have examples of that. We'll also talk a little bit about trace metals or elemental analysis, because there's a lot of elements that are required for a diet, and some of these elements can be toxic if they're present in a large concentration. We'll also touch base quite a bit on pesticides and pesticide methods, and you'll hear about polar pesticides, chlorinated pesticides, organophosphorus pesticides, and so forth. We'll also give you some examples of toxins. Toxins, whether they're aquatic marine toxins, biotoxins, or whether they're mycotoxins, are very, very challenging and interesting analytical and food problems, especially when you put them in a food matrix like shellfish. And we'll talk a little bit about those technologies. And then we'll also include veterinary drug residues, pathogens, and other contaminants. So I think today's program you'll see quite a variety of different topics in the food safety domain. Now, at Thermo Fisher Scientific, we work a lot with partners around the world, and one of those partners that we've worked with now for a while is the Food and Drug Administration in Washington, D.C. And here's an example of a document that was published by the United States Food and Drug Administration. And it's a method that is called LIB. LIB means Laboratory Information Bulletin. And you can get all of these bulletins off of the internet. And they are they're validated methods, but they're single lab validated methods only. This one is method 4421. And this was developed when we were helping them to develop a method for melamine in powdered milk last year. And if you look at this method and you read through it, you'll realize that all of the instrumentation involving liquid chromatography and MSMS spectrometry. All of that was done with Thermo Fisher analytical instruments. And a part of that is that we do a lot of collaboration with them on new technologies and new methods, and this is one example. Now, in other parts of the world, we spend a lot of time working on methods because we are convinced that if we can help you solve your problem with a method or a modified method, that then you'll be successful. One of the common problems that we see are chemists like yourselves that come to us and they say, you know, here's a new regulation, and it's come from some country, and it's, of course, written by lawyers, and it's meant to be implemented by lawyers and enforced by lawyers. But you and I, being chemists, you have to take this method and then translate it to something that's a useful analytical method. So we'll talk about that quite a bit today, but the process that we follow is really pretty well outlined when we work with laboratories like yourselves, and that is when you focus on the method, there's quite a few things that you have to take into account, such as the matrix, for example. Matrix is really the first and foremost part of the method development, because today I think most people acknowledge that there's something like 50,000 different sample matrices in foods, beverages, and agricultural products. So, as a result, every time that you change the matrix, you know, you have to change the method or modify the method to accommodate the unique properties of those methods. And that's why we're going to show you a large combination of methods today and different matrices, and we'll always be emphasizing the matrix. So we go through a process that goes all the way through data analysis and data interpretation, data logging, and so forth. And today we're going to take parts of this process and show you how to improve methods, how to decrease the cost of methods using some new technologies. And we're also going to show you how to improve the productivity of the laboratory and the performance of methods. There's a lot of new technologies, and we're going to demonstrate many of those to you today. All right, now the schedule for today is outlined in your notebook, and we will start. We're right here, and shortly I'll introduce the guest speaker, who will talk about the global perspective on food safety. And then we'll go into topics like method performance and new regulations, and I will make that presentation. Dr. Guiping Liu will talk about multi-residue methods, both for pesticides and veterinary drug residues. After lunch, we'll have a presentation on improving laboratory productivity, followed by a relatively new topic, and that's really ultra-high mass accuracy mass spectrometry. And the key is mass accuracy. And I think we'll show you some results that are state-of-the-art today. And the reason that becomes important is that as food scientists, we're starting to look in most countries at more and more non-targeted compounds. Every method, as you know, every method has a list of target compounds. And that's usually what we're looking for in chemical analysis. But today, in the food safety domain, things have changed, and I think the advent of finding melamine in powdered milk and milk products last year really changed the nature of food safety testing. And that's to look for non-targeted compounds, which of course means that you have true unknowns. You really have an unknown, and you don't even know what you're looking for, and that's what's led to what the field calls screening analysis. So we'll talk a little bit about screening and show you how the new developments there. All right. Now, there's several contacts listed in the book here. One of them is Mr. Kim, who is the president and chairperson of Euroscience here in Seoul. A very, very good friend and a very strong supporter of Thermo Fisher Scientific. We highly value and trust our relationship with Euroscience, and I can assure you that they are very knowledgeable about products, technologies. They know where to get information. They have excellent service and support and training programs. I've been in their training facilities, and it's a marvelous facility. So everything that you do should go through Euroscience here in Korea. And people like Guiping is in Beijing. I'm in San Francisco, California. And no matter where we are, we stand here to back up Mr. Kim and his team here in Korea.